Welcome to the video. Today we're talking about my modifications for the PS Classic. So I figured there's a lot of how-tos already that are very thorough, and I would figure in this video I'm just going to show you my experience in what I went through getting this mod done. A fairly technical person I feel I am, and I got the mod right here on this thumb drive, and it kind of works, it kind of works, kind of doesn't, and I'll go through that with you in a second. So think of this as like a real world how-to. So not perfect conditions, just basically my experience with it. So the drive I used here, this is a Kingston Data Traveler G4. It's basically a really basic 16 gig USB 3.0 thumb drive. Seems to work fine. Out of the box is already formatted to FAT32, which I found is a benefit. Not that formatting the drive to FAT32 is a big deal, but that part's already done for me. So I'm going to plug this drive in now and show you just what it looks like all prepped up. So I got my view of the computer already on the screen here. So I'm just going to get out of that. So the drive itself is named Sony. I did have to do that to it. That's probably the easiest possible thing you can do. If you right click here and go, if it's already formatted to FAT32, which I'm going to pull the window here, which you can tell it's already FAT32, and by default it's named like not removable, but just like, you know, USB drive or Kingston or whatever. Rename it Sony, all caps. If it's already FAT32, you're done. Just hit OK. If for some reason it's not FAT32, you got to go into right click, format, click it over to FAT32, name it Sony down here, and hit start to format it. Being a 16 gig drive, it's going to take a little bit. There's also third-party solutions if you want to go that route. Once that stuff is on there, the folder set I used is for BleemSync, which is the older mod method or whatever. I got it from a video by Arcade Man. I'll link his video below. It's an already done file, nice and easy, and it does have games in it. There's some legality thing, I'm sure, with depending on your country and stuff, but whatever. There's games in it. I'm gonna leave it there. Now, the version he had on the website, on the video I'm linking, it is a 32 gig version. This is a 16 gig drive, so I did go through and only put the games I wanted from his ROM set. So pretty much open the zip file he gives you. It's just called 32gb.rar. Uncompress it, dump everything right in the root directory of the drive. You know, right when you open it up, dump it all here. You know, copy paste it, and then you have this. You know, you can't see it all, but it's all there. And once you have that all, the only thing you're really gonna modify in here is this games folder, which is just over to the, there we go, right here, games. So open up games, and this is the other thing here. So each game is in its own folder, so just make sure you leave them like that. As you can tell, since mine is not in a perfect numerical order anymore, or it's missing some, those are the games I took out from the file here. So if you go in each one, it has the assorted game data and all that kind of stuff. So there's Crash Bandicoot, it's got the file, stuff like that. Once that's all done, the drive is done. That's all you have to do to it. Now, one thing I did extra, just because I wanted to, I'm just going to modify the view so you guys can see it. There we go. So there's another folder called RetroArch on here. So pretty much RetroArch is another standalone emulator that does work on the PS Classic. And if you want to put some games in here, you can do that. It already had these folders, so I figured I'd fill some in. So I put some Super Nintendo ROMs in here just to see. I'll show you guys that playing on the system in just a minute. So that part's done. I'm going to go ahead and plug this into the PlayStation Classic now and show you guys. So just to reiterate, just real quick, FAT32 formatted drive, named Sony, all caps, dump all the stuff on the drive, make sure there's games in there, you're good to go. And here we go. And right now it's hooked up to HDMI only. The power is not hooked up. That part is crucial. You put this USB drive in before connecting power to it. So we're going to plug this right in here, just like that. And we're also going to plug in this right here, which is power, which I don't think I can do one-handed, but we're gonna try. With that plugged in, the light turns amber, showing it has power, and that's the reason why you have to have this in before here, because it kind of goes into like a sleep mode as soon as you turn it on. With that like that, we're gonna power it up, and let's see what we get. So this looks pretty normal. Now, you're going to get this menu. So we have RetroArch or we have BleemSync. Now, my experience so far doing this with BleemSync has been hit or miss. Sometimes it boots, sometimes it doesn't. We're going to go ahead and try to boot it and see what happens. So this time, lucky us, it actually booted. So right here you can see these blank spaces are games that I didn't put on, that I took out of the ROM set, just because I don't have enough space in the drive. But as you can see, games look like they can play. So for the heck of it, let's go to one that I didn't delete, and we'll go right to Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And now what I've also found in this menu is sometimes it's sluggish and it does take a while to load the game. So I hit X, and it looks like it froze, but it's actually loading the game up right now. So it just takes a minute to do that. It takes a while to do that. Alright, so there it is. There's a PlayStation logo. The game is loaded. It's playing just like it's supposed to. And that looks pretty nice. It's pretty simple. So again, this is the BleemSync method, not Auto Bleem. I'm sure they're very related and probably just different versions of the same modify. But it does work. So, alright, so as you can see, we're in the menu. The game looks like it can play. And there we go. There's no memory card in here. I didn't make a memory card yet. So now I'm going to show you, I'm going to reset this console now, and we're going to go for the, there you go, if you hit reset, it goes back to the menu. I'm going to reset this and go to the RetroArch, just to show you guys what that looks like. RetroArch, as you can tell, this version of it looks basically like the kind of crossbar PS3 menu, as you can tell. So I want to go ahead and go down to load a core, which means load what system you want to play. Now, you already saw PlayStation, which is in here. So just for the fun of it, since I loaded some Super NES games on here, I'm going to go down to the Super NES core and get that running. So let's then jump down to that right here. There's different ones. I don't fully know the difference, so I'm just going to go for the one that's just SNES 9X. Now, went back to this menu again. I'm just going to go down now to load content. And the games, we have to go to the directory the games are in. So we're going to go to the root of the drive, which now these are all the stuff I copied over along with some other folders that are on the device. So we got to go into the mount folder. So this is a little more technical, but if you go into, media, you want to go into media, and then you want to go into games, or you want to go into RetroArch. So games are where those PlayStation games are. RetroArch folder is where I put the other games. So just to see this working, let's go to Mario All-Stars. It's going to again show you what core it's using. You hit X and let's see if it loads. And it does. So there we go. Mario All-Stars playing on the RetroArch emulator on the PS Classic. And I'm sure it looks pretty good. There we go. As you can see, Mario 3. I am playing this one-handed. So as you can see, Mario 3 looks pretty good. BleemSync and RetroArch running on the PS Classic seems to work pretty good. Some sluggish stuff going on with the RetroArch at the beginning, but pretty good now. And the furnace kicked on, so now you hear that in the background, but I hope this video helped just a little bit. I'll see you guys next time.